Welcome everyone to episode 3 of Around the Book. We have updated our rank or our schedules for this week. We have looked at our records. Everyone's doing good, especially JT 5-1. Still can't believe that. The rest of us are just staying average at this point. I know some of us had a few bad beats. Dalton, I know you are dying to talk about it, so why don't you get us started here and go over your last weekend's bets?
I've been stewing on this for a while. So Saturday, thought I was going 2-0. My lock hits with Colorado. I mean, that was kind of a freebie. And then App State, huge money line. They had everything ready to go for the upset. They had it. They're marching down the field late in the game, down 3. And instead of going for the jugular on 3rd and 9, their head coach decides to hand the ball off with like a minute 30 left in the game. They just didn't even try for the first down. Aguilar, their quarterback, was dealing on 3rd down all game. And they made just the most gutless, cowardice decision I have seen in a long time to kick that field goal and just hand the ball back to North Carolina with a minute and a half left. And then they somehow didn't blow it then, got to overtime and still lost. Honestly, after that handoff, they didn't deserve to win that game. To not even try for the first down, because you get that first down, at worst, you're going to overtime. You're either scoring, because you're at that point, it was 3rd and 9 on like the 19. So they would have had a 1st and goal, and it's either score a touchdown or kick the field goal with no time left on the clock. They did the dumbest possible thing, and it was just, I guess, fear of throwing an interception, pure cowardice. Sean Clark, what are you doing?
I think they lost their edge from last year.
Look, I mean, that's the only
last year. I think it was.
But yeah, Sean Clark dead to me for that decision. Other coach that's dead to me, Mike Vrabel.
Oh yeah,
kept me from going 2-0 in NFL. My Miami money line hits, so I hit my underdog in NFL. Thought my lock New Orleans -3 against Tennessee was hitting. Then with 2:20 left in the game, Titans are down 4. And I think it was like a 3rd and 7 or 4th and 7 on like the New Orleans 11, something like that. And they're down 4 with 2:20 left to go. And they kick a field goal. There's absolutely no explanation for it. Not even in Brandon Staley's analytics book does it make sense to do that. The NFL needs to investigate Mike Vrabel for gambling, because the only explanation is that Vrabel had Titans -3, Titans +3. The only explanation. Roger Goodell, if you're watching this, I demand an investigation be opened up against Mike Vrabel for gambling.
I think he's watching. He'll comment here in a minute and let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
What he's gonna do.
Definitely.
Question: was this the Dalton versus Jake rematch game? And
yeah.
Jake had the Titans money line, and Dalton had Saints to cover, and neither.
Yeah, we both lost.
We both ended up very unhappy with Mike Vrabel. I'll tell you that.
That's just spiteful by Mike Vrabel. That's just trying to hurt people.
Vrabel watched last weekend.
Had they scored down there, I'd at least been happy for Jake. Honestly.
Yeah. Now we both lost.
Yeah. Now I'm just bitter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you just got screwed at the last second. I think we're all gonna have one of those weekends, and
it's going early.
Yeah,
I'm ready
it is.
This in like October, November.
Yeah.
Well, we're starting off early.
Well, I mean, besides JT, I feel like we're all like still trying to get our feet beneath us, I guess. I'm only hitting my underdogs at this point. I don't understand it. My locks are 0 for 3. My underdogs are 3-0 or 3-0. So
But
I
that's
should
where the
probably
money's at.
I know, so I'm like not too upset about it, but at the same time, like, am I just gonna have to give out 4 underdogs this weekend and if they all hit or what? So
Just go for it.
yeah, I might have to. I'm gonna, yeah, I don't know. With this college
Yeah.
football slate, I'm not too excited on what to
No.
choose from. So, but I guess does anyone else have any other gripes or any other coaches or commissioners they want to call out from our bets from last weekend?
I kind of want to call out the entire Stanford football program
Yeah,
for that disgusting display. And I know USC is much more talented on paper, but that I don't have anything to say about that. I just
yeah,
expected a little bit more. At least give me some hope, like somewhere in like the second quarter that an upset's possible. And
yeah,
straight from the get-go, it was just bad.
yeah. They went up 14-0 like instantly. It
Yeah.
felt like. What's up? So I do have one that I'm upset with the Commanders. What was that? They couldn't cover 7.5 points against the Cardinals. I don't understand that. I don't know if like the Cardinals are sandbagging us with information on who's playing and who's not. Like, I don't know what's going on. That Sam Howell and the Commanders did not look like I thought they were going to. I still don't think the Cardinals are that good. I guess it was just week 1 of the NFL. That's the only thing I can think of.
I think we all bought into the Sam Howell hype.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's just the Commanders are still just what every Washington football team has been for the last decade.
Yeah. I mean, they still won, but
Yeah,
good teams cover. They don't just win.
Yep.
So,
they'll win 7 to 9 games.
yeah. JT, are you still in on the Sam Howell hype?
I am still in on the Sam Howell
Okay.
hype. Granted, I didn't watch this game, so he hasn't scarred me yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's week 1. I know there was like a interception for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, you can't keep Scary Terry and Jahan Dotson and that group of running backs. There's just too much talent on that offense. Sam Howell's a good quarterback. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's week 1. I mean, the highest paid quarterbacks in the league look terrible this week, so I'm sure it'll all shake out.
Yeah. It was just bad football week. Like
It
for week
was.
1 of the NFL, it was bad.
Yeah. I mean, a few teams look great. The Niners, I thought, represent. I couldn't be more happy with how that went. But it's neither here nor there. Let's get into our picks this week. I said we start off with college, in my opinion, just because it's, I don't know. I know me and Dalton were talking about this a little bit before the episode started. I think this week sucks in college football. I think next week is going to be awesome, but this week is just, I don't know. It's not my favorite week, but I'll start off with my lock of the week. I'm going to go with South Carolina versus Georgia. I have South Carolina at plus 27.5. Now, I know South Carolina did not look great or does not look great this season so far. Georgia still dominant. I mean, still probably going to make the playoffs this year. But I think South Carolina can cover 27.5 against Georgia. I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina won this game outright. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm trying to talk like this is an underdog right now to try to give it some more juju to win here. But I just need them to cover at plus 27.5. I have that at negative 110. So that's my lock. And my underdog for the week is going to be Virginia Moneyline against Maryland. I have them at plus 440 right now. I don't know if you guys watched that Virginia game last week. They end up losing to James Madison by 1 point. But that quarterback that came in, and I'm going to butcher his name, that Colin Dara kid, just came in and had like no reserve for what he was doing out there. I mean, he was just going out there slinging it, didn't care. I mean, he did have an interception. His quarterback rating wasn't great, but he had almost 400 yards. I think he had like 385 or 389 yards, a couple touchdowns. If this kid comes in, who knows? I mean, I think he looked really good. He could have that next game setback where he goes out and throws a few interceptions, but I really think Virginia, if they can play like they did against James Madison, that they have a shot at Maryland. I mean, any Big Ten school, it's not Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State can go down any week. So I think Virginia can pull it out this week.
All right. So I'm going to have Dalton skip me real quick because I'm sloppy and unorganized, getting my life together after a crazy day of work. So I'm going to pass.
All right, I got you. So for my college picks, I'm taking for my lock Penn State minus 14.5 at Illinois. This is a game where I think the line is closer than it probably should be based on past events. The last time they played back in 2021, they played that crazy overtime game where Penn State lost. I think that was one of those where it went to the back and forth 2-point conversions, I think. And not a great game. You know, Bielema does usually get Illinois to beat somebody they shouldn't. I think he is a good coach for these types of games, but Penn State's very different from where they were a couple of years ago. They have really kind of finally taken that step, I think, to where they have the talent up and down the roster of an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Georgia, and Alabama. They're at that point now. They're loaded, and these types of conference middle to bottom of the pack conference teams shouldn't give them issues. I think you're going to see Bo Perbiola again by the fourth quarter for the third week in a row. I think Penn State wins this by, honestly, I'd be surprised if it stayed within 20. That's my lock at minus 110. And then, excuse me, I think I got that at, minus 110. And then my underdog this week is Florida International at plus 270. Florida International money line against UConn. I get it. I get that there's some hope that Jim Mora brings this UConn program back, but like I feel like everyone's been hyping up UConn and Jim Mora like as if Jim Mora is this legendary head coach. He's not. I think they had like one big win last year over Boston College, and now everyone thought this was UConn's year. Well, they're 0-2. Their starting quarterback's done for the season. Former Penn State quarterback Taquan Roberson is now starting. I believe he's the quarterback that actually came in, that actually played that Penn State Illinois game that went to overtime and lost. I think he came in relief for Sean Clifford, ironically. UConn just shouldn't be favored against anybody. Like I wouldn't favor UConn against the Little Sisters of the Poor. They're terrible. I mean, they just got beat by Georgia State. They're terrible. Take Florida International, who's, an average mid-major program. I take them to beat UConn because UConn at this point is essentially an FCS program.
Yeah. I'd be curious what their record would be if they played like within that division.
You know what's crazy with all this conference realignment? Like there was legitimate talk of UConn to the ACC, and it's like No, ACC is for good teams.
Yeah.
I mean, UConn is great when Kemba Walker's on the floor, or their basketball team I love, but put them in Gonzaga's football conference. They are not about that football game.
They should just bring back the Big East and throw all those
I would love
these
that.
schools that are dominant in basketball, just throw them in their own little separate football.
Do you remember those like
none of it'll matter in
Pittsburgh
15 years.
teams and like
That's what we don't
Georgetown? I loved the Big East.
So yeah, I agree with that. And Dalton, I was gonna fade you because while you were talking about your Penn State Illinois pick, I know I was looking at the weather in Illinois because they are playing in Champaign.
Last I saw overcast, right?
Well, no, I just looked. It's supposed to be sunny, mid-70s, a little bit of cloud coverage, but not much. If it was going to be doom and gloom, I was going to have to fade you because
I thought the same thing. I checked that before I made that pick. I didn't see rain. I saw some clouds, but I didn't see any rain.
Yeah, if you're heading into Champaign between the week 3 and week 7 and you are within the Big Ten, good luck. I don't know what they do, like if time stands still down there, but it seems like everyone just is moving in quicksand besides Illinois. And they surprise a few teams. They usually don't pull it all the way out, but they usually cover. So
yeah.
But I'm gonna agree with you on this one. I think Penn State's gonna take it all the way.
And then JT, are you ready, or should we go to Jake first?
I am ready. I have my life together. It was a struggle, but I made it. Okay, so fresh off my first loss of the year for my college picks last year, the state of Iowa let me down. So, I'm ditching my Iowa picks, even though I'm tempted to take Western Michigan plus 28.5 because Iowa would actually have to score 28.5. So I'm going to shy away from that one, but I'm going to keep it in the Big Ten for my underdog. So I'm going with Western Kentucky plus 29.5 at Ohio State. Ohio State, is the big brand name. We expect them to compete for the Big Ten, but they haven't looked good this year. And their defense hasn't looked good in like 4 years. So going against a Western Kentucky team that has scored 41 and 52 points in their respective games this year, I mean, this is an offense that can click. I mean, it was only a few years ago they had Bailey Zappi throwing for 5,000 yards in college football. So I think they can keep it within 4 touchdowns. I'm going to go, even though it's in the horseshoe, Western Kentucky to cover. And then my lock of the week, I am going to take Kansas State minus 4.5 at Missouri. Honestly, because I think Kansas State is good, and I think Missouri is not that good. They're 2-0, but man, Missouri is just a very middle, lower tier SEC team. I think they're better this year than they have been in previous years, but I don't think they're going to keep it with a touchdown of Kansas State, who has just looked great this year. Granted, against bad teams, but this is still the defending Big 12 champion. They're good every year. They're super consistent. I think they're going to cover the spread comfortably. Kansas State minus 4.5.
All right. So for my lock this week in college, I'm going with Colorado at minus 23.5 against Colorado State. I believe the odds on this are minus 110. I've been a little nervous to bet on Colorado up to this point in the year just because there's a lot of question marks, but I think those have all been answered through the first 2 weeks. Colorado State just lost in their last game. They lost to Washington State by 36 at home. So I'm not too confident that they'll be able to go to Folsom Field and cover the 23.5 point spread. Colorado State just is not in good shape right now. And I feel like it's finally time for me to buy the Colorado hype. One thing I have noticed too with Colorado is that Dion does not pull his starters. So I don't think we have to really worry too much in this game about the lead being too big. He hasn't really sat anybody yet. So I'm pretty confident about that lock. As for underdogs, I have still not hit an underdog this year, but I am pretty confident in this one. I'm going with the Arizona State money line at plus 136 against Fresno State. And one thing I really want to focus on this game is the running game for Arizona State. Fresno State has given up over 4 yards per carry in both their games so far. And one player I really want to point out on Arizona State is Cam Scadaboo. He played for my alumni, which is Sacramento State last year, and then he just transferred to Arizona State. I think he's one of the most underrated running backs in all of college football. He's got over 4 yards per carry this year. Fresno State's coming off a game where they barely beat Eastern Washington, an FCS team, in overtime at home. Now they're heading to the desert in Arizona. And at plus 136 odds, I feel pretty confident that I might finally have an underdog hit.
I'll trade you this week. If you want to take the underdogs, I'll take the locks. And we
I'll
can go
take it.
from there. All right. All right. So, and JT, I love that Kansas State pick. I think they're always 8 or 9. Like, you can pencil them in for 8 or 9 to 10 wins a season. So, I mean, they always just a solid team to bet on. All right. So now that slate of college games is over, we can jump into what everyone's probably waiting for, NFL picks. We had a few gripes at the beginning of the show. Obviously, it seems like there are a few teams that probably needed another week of preseason for their starters. I feel like we had a lot of blowouts this week. I don't know if that's – I don't know. It just seemed abnormal for the past few years. But hopefully this week we can get a little bit more grasp on the season. And I'll start off with my lock of the week. I have the Packers and Falcons over 40.5 points at minus 108. The Packers just went in and destroyed the Bears. I mean, no one was just seeing that coming. I was not expecting that, but their offense just went out there. I mean, it was a team effort, but I think their offense is a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I think the Falcons have finally found a way to score. 40.5, I think, is going to be pretty easy for both these teams to get to. So that's my lock of this week. And like I said, it's at minus 108. And then my underdog, I'm going back to the Las Vegas Raiders. And they will be playing the Bills this week. I have the Raiders money line at plus 310. Bills, I thought were going to stomp on the Jets after Rodgers went down, but they looked really, I don't know what it was. It was just like Josh Allen didn't look comfortable. He was just, I mean, I know he's always been careless with the ball, but it was on like a even bigger level this week. He was just slinging it and overthrowing his receivers by 5 or 10 yards, hoping they were there. Fumble. If the Raiders can improve upon, because I don't think they had an impressive week, but they still got the win against the Broncos. If the Raiders can improve a little bit, I think this could be a good game. But I could also see the Bills taking it out on the Raiders. But I'm going to hope the Raiders have it here at the money line at plus 310, and I'm going to stick with it. And I've been pretty good on my underdog so far, so hopefully this one hits too.
All right. So I really like that Packers-Falcons pick. I think I do agree it's going to be an over, but what's amazing about that over is the Falcons are going to do it without knowing how to throw a forward pass.
Yeah.
Like you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London, and I think they threw one pass that was more than 10 yards. So it's just a testament to how good their running game is and how good the Packers, I think, looked last week, that I do think they will hit that over. But, man, the Falcons are a weird team right now. I really want to see something from them this week. Okay, so starting off 2-0 in the NFL. I'll take it. I'm going back to the well as well. My lock of the week, just like last week, I picked the Bucs. Tried to tell you, this team's for real. They were my underdog then. This time they're the favorite. Buccaneers, their home opener, -2.5 versus that same bad Bears team that the Packers just carved up. I think the Bucs are going to win this game. I think the Bears are not good in the trenches, and the Bucs' defensive line, their front seven, is one of the best in the NFL. So even if Justin Fields gashes them like he is very capable of, and even if DJ Moore goes off, which I think that's a favorable matchup against Tampa Bay, I still don't think with that front seven the Bears have, they're going to slow the Bucs down too much. I think it's going to be something like 24-17, 26-20, something like that. I think the Bucs cover fairly comfortably at 2.5. And then my underdog pick this week. I'm going to pick a team that I think is objectively bad, but they're playing another team that I think is objectively bad. And when two bad teams play each other, I'm going to take the points. So that's the Texans hosting the Colts. I'm taking Texans +1. And since it's such a slim margin, I'm just going to take Texans money line. They're the home team. I think CJ Stroud was the best quarterback in this draft. And considering he's going against a quarterback who I think has a really high upside in Anthony Richardson, but is really a work in progress at this point, I think that's a big advantage for Houston. And I thought their defense showed reasonably well versus the Ravens. You know, another running quarterback, so they've kind of got that same mindset of keeping the quarterback in the pocket, playing contain. I think this is a really good matchup that I don't think is a great football product, but I think is a good favorable matchup for the Texans in this one.
Yeah, I didn't know what to choose on that Texans game, so I really like the Texans money line on that one, but I was a little afraid to bet on that one because I just wasn't sure what was going to happen.
I agree. I mean, I never like betting on bad teams. It's not a habit I like to make. But when it's two bad teams, I will take the points and the home team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting slightly better odds than the Colts in that, and I mean, it's a toss-up. I mean, that is the definition of a coin flip game.
Yeah.
Right. And then both teams are -110 to either cover the spread, but then the Texans are +106 to actually win. So if you're going to cover the spread of one, you're going to win. So I'll take that.
I'll
take the better odds.
+106 for the money line.
Yeah. So I'll take those boosted odds there. That's
yeah. I'm seeing them at -105 right now, +106. Yeah. Anytime you get plus odds in a coin flip game, you got to take it. I like that pick. All right, so I'm going with for my lock this week, and I'm gonna hold my nose while doing this, but I'm taking the Chargers -3 against the Titans. I think after last week, the Chargers looked good for 90% of that game. They blew it against a good Dolphins team. I think the Dolphins, with the giant caveat of if Tua stays healthy, I think the Dolphins are a legit threat in the AFC this year. But the Chargers, I don't think they're going to have to worry about Brandon Staley screwing things up this week because they should be able to handle the Titans. They're far more talented than them. I mean, Tennessee really had no business keeping it as close with the Saints as they did. If Derek Carr could just figure out how to score in the red zone, that game wouldn't have been nearly that close. So I feel pretty good about this, even though, you never like to bet on Brandon Staley, but I think it's pretty safe here. And then for my underdog this week, we're taking a big leap. We're going with Zach Wilson and the Jets at +330 to beat the Cowboys money line. I don't know why, but I really like what I saw out of the Jets on Monday Night Football. I think their defense is really good. With what they did against Buffalo, that was really impressive. And they made Josh Allen look like a guy. Now they're playing Dallas this week, and they got Dak Prescott, who is just a guy.
Mhm.
I think they can handle that Dallas offense. Keep them under. If they can keep them under 24, which I think they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept Dallas under 20. As good as Dallas looked last week against the Giants, I think they can keep Dallas under 20 or at least in the low 20s. I think Zach Wilson can do just enough with the help of that running game to get them over the hump. And I like him. And I mean, in the NFL, when you got that long of odds, it's hard not to take. I mean, the league's designed for everyone to go 500. I think once you get over plus 300 odds, the value is just too good.
Mhm.
It's hard to pass up.
Yeah, I like that Jets pick a lot. I think if Zach Wilson is able to put together a good year and lead the Jets to the playoffs, that would probably be one of the best storylines in the NFL this year.
Mhm.
I'm rooting for that personally, and yeah, the Jets defense looked incredible. So with those odds, especially, I like that pick a lot.
From what I love about those picks, sorry not to cut you off.
You're all good.
I love the spite factor of that Titans pick. Burned by Mike Vrabel
You caught
immediately.
I was
F Mike Vrabel. I'm betting the house again.
I'm ready
just
for
about
it
to say.
again. I want him gone.
Don't say anything too much because he's watching, so don't forget about
That's good,
that.
No one can prove that Mike Vrabel is not a fan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, me and Dalton are on the same side this week because my lock is also the Chargers at -3.
Another spite
and
pick.
it is just to spite Mike Vrabel. But yeah, the Chargers defense let him down, but that offense looked very, very good in week 1. Tennessee's did not. So the Saints defense is pretty solid, but I think this is a pretty easy cover for the Chargers. Last year, they went 7-3 against the spread on the road, and the Titans went 3-5 at home. And yeah, I think the offense is just going to put up way too many points. It could be a close game, but I don't see how the Chargers win this game by less than 3. As for my underdog, I'm going with the Commanders money line at plus 145 against the Broncos. The Broncos, they looked a little bit better, and they did give the Raiders defense some fits last week, but once again, they scored 16 points and lost. Washington, I think as we talked about earlier, they should have done better against the Cardinals, but their defense really impressed me. I think they have one of the best front sevens in the league. And one reason the Denver was able to move the ball well against the Raiders defense was because for a large part of the game, the Raiders couldn't get any type of pass rush, but I don't think that'll be a problem for Washington at all. I think if they're able to get in the end zone 2 or 3 times and kick a couple of field goals with that defense, that should be enough to do it. I'm still a Sam Howell truther, so hopefully he can. Yeah, I see you, JT. Hopefully he can help me get what would be my first underdog pick of the year. But I'm feeling pretty confident in my NFL picks this week. Betting against the Broncos recently has been a pretty successful avenue. Yeah. So, I like the Commanders money line this week.
Yeah, I like that. I really hope the Broncos go down again. I don't know what it is, but Sean Payton coming back and making those comments just like, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. So I was glad to see. And then I know you guys are Raiders fans, so
yeah,
I was glad to see him lose last week.
I don't think Sean Payton wants to ride with Russell Wilson.
No.
I think he's ready for Caleb Williams.
I mean, we've never seen Sean Payton succeed without a Hall of Fame quarterback in his prime.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Russell Wilson's exactly that right now.
No.
No. Maybe a few years ago, but not right now.
I feel like he's like that Scooby-Doo gif of, they pull off the mask.
Yeah.
It's like, Sean Payton is really Mike McCarthy. He would have gotten away with it. It weren't for those meddling kids.
That might actually be painfully accurate.
Yeah.
of a comparison, man. I mean, think about it. They're both really just mostly riding off of spending their careers with Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they both won one Super Bowl in the 2000s.
Yep, and with a lot of teams that were favored to make a lot of noise and just didn't.
Yep.
So I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
Might just be exactly the same person. I've never seen them in the same room together.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Do they play this year?
If they do, I won't be watching, and that statement will remain true.
Yeah. All right. So this week, we're going to do another touchdown parlay. Last week, I don't even want to talk about it because Isaiah Pacheco, let's just forget about it. The Chiefs did not look great. So we're going to start fresh. And the guy I'm going to go with this week is Deebo Samuel. Now, I'm going to choose Deebo just because out of the last 7 interactions in the regular season that Deebo has been a part of the San Fran and Los Angeles Rams game, he has scored 6 times, which I think is just almost a lock for him to get in the end zone again. And Brandon Ayuk got his fair share last week. I'm a guy that likes to think if someone got a touchdown or 2 touchdowns last week, they're probably not going to get one the next week. So let's spread the wealth a little bit, and I think it's going to be a Deebo Samuel week. He gets up, for the Rams, the whole 49ers team gets up for the Rams, so I think this would be a good week for him to go out there, put up 100-plus yards, and get in the end zone. I would like to see him get in the end zone twice, but I at least think he'll get in there once. So Deebo is my pick for the touchdown parlay.
Week 1, completely aside, we'll call it a fluke. Betting against the Rams defense, I think, is going to be good money this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will add my player to our anytime touchdown parlay. I'm going to go with DK Metcalf versus the Lions. Both these teams hang their hat on offense, and the Lions, although I think their defense is looking improved, they do not have a corner who can match up with DK. Their number 1 corner is Cam Sutton, and I think he's like 5'11". DK is 6'5", 230, and runs like a 4.30. So in a game, I'm expecting a lot of points. Whereas the defense, who I don't think is great still, they really let Kadarius Toney get open a lot. And if he wasn't bad at catching the football, he could have had a lot of yards. So just imagine what DK can do to this Lions defense. I think he's going to find the end zone again this week.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
He's just a walking muscle that can catch a football very well.
Yeah. I don't think Detroit defensively, I still don't think Detroit's that good defensively.
Average at best.
Yeah. To add to it, I'm going to add pretty safe pick here. Travis Kelce to anytime touchdown -160 against the Jaguars. Again, this is assuming he's playing, which I think he will. If he was a game time decision last week, that was Thursday night game. He's got a 10-day rest. If he's a game time decision, then he's going to play this week. And I think after what we saw from Kadarius Toney and company, the Chiefs need him desperately. So if he's even 90%, he's playing. He's for sure playing, and I think they're going to rely on him a lot because they really can't trust anybody else to catch the football. And yeah, I think if he's playing, he's scoring this week until they figure out someone else they can rely on in the red zone. Mahomes is going to look to Kelce as a safety blanket right now.
Yeah, I really like that Kelce pick, especially after watching the Chiefs offense last week. I think if he plays, Mahomes is going to be looking at him quite a lot. For my pick for the parlay, I'm going with DeAndre Swift at +165. I've always been a DeAndre Swift truther. For some reason, whatever coaching staff he's with doesn't want to give him the ball. And he only got 29% of the snaps last week, but this week Kenneth Gainwell is out, which is going to leave him as the top running back heading into the game. The Vikings didn't look too impressive last week. I think the Eagles are going to have a lot of red zone opportunities coming up this week, and at plus 165, those odds are definitely going to sweeten up the parlay a little bit. So he's going to get a lot more snaps, and I think he'll get a lot more opportunities, and he's definitely got the talent to get in there. So I like Swift at plus 165.
Yeah, and I think those are great odds, especially with Gainwell going to be out. I think it's a great pick on that one. But to review, so we have DeAndre Swift currently at plus 165. I actually have it at. It could change depending on when anyone puts in their TD parlay. Currently, I'm at plus 165 for DeAndre Swift. I'm at minus 125 for Travis Kelce. DK is at plus 190, and Debo is at plus 190. If you were to parlay all of them, you are at plus 3,912. So just for simplest terms, if you were to put $10 on that, you're going to get a $401.16 payout. That's not a bad return on investment if it does pay out. Hopefully, this week's a little bit better for us on this touchdown parlay. I also like getting a Thursday night guy in there and with DeAndre Swift because I just like to see one leg hit pretty early because then we're going to have to wait 3 days for Sunday to come. So I like being able to look forward to that DeAndre Swift pick.
Or other side of things, Isaiah Pacheco could not reach the end zone
Yeah.
and Parlay immediately dead.
And your hopes are crushed for the whole week.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay because you can regroup.
Yeah, exactly. You can regroup. I'll have Friday. I can watch some high school football, Saturday college football, and then Sunday's a brand new day. We can act like it never happened. So that's what I'm going to do this week. All right. So does anyone have any extra picks that they want to throw out there? I know that we kind of give our locks and underdogs and our parlay, but if anyone's feeling any other picks that they really want to give out, go ahead and we can discuss those right now.
I'll just throw out in that Seattle Detroit game. I'm taking the over in that game. 47 points. I think these two played last year, and I don't think the Seahawks punted in that game. So I think 47. That's if they hit 24 apiece, then you hit your over. I think both teams could touch 30 in this game, so I feel really comfortable with the over in that one.
Yeah, if Travis Kelce ends up not playing this week, I would hammer the Jags money line at plus 160 because they're playing the Chiefs at home. We saw how KC looked last week. It is still Patrick Mahomes, so I'm always scared to bet against him, but even if Kelsey's playing, I still kind of like that. But if he's not, I would put a substantial amount of money on the Jags money line.
I already took the Jags money line, so I'm already believing in them. I think they have something to prove from last year's playoff performance. So I think they took a little bit of a punch to the face against Indianapolis last weekend. I think they're going to be ready to go. So I like that pick.
One of your picks, Casey, to piggyback off, you had Buffalo money line, or you had Raiders money line. If you're not feeling if you're not ready to like fully pull the trigger on the Raiders to win that game, they have a very generous plus 8.5 right now spread. I think they're very much capable of keeping that game within a score.
I really agree. And yeah, they're currently at plus 8.5. So, I mean, even if you wanted to, you could probably take them to plus 9.5 and not lose too much value on that if you wanted to feel a little bit more safe on it.
And just for, PSA, I told you guys about it when we did our futures bets. Buccaneers are still plus 600 to win the NFC South. So, if you want to buy a little stock now while we can, probably wouldn't be a bad investment.
I was shocked when that hit last week. I'm not going to lie to you. I was expecting the Vikings to go out there and put it on, but
I'm telling you, and honestly, it was a sloppy game on both sides. There was one really weird fumble the Vikings had, but there was also like miscommunications in the Bucs secondary that gave up an Addison touchdown. This Bucs defense is for real though, and the offense is well designed and it has good playmakers. And I know you said you don't want to bet on Baker Mayfield, and I totally get that because Baker Mayfield is not great. But I think they're the best team in the South, and I'm standing by it. Buy your shares plus 600. Do it now. They're in first place.
I will agree on the future, but I'm going to wait the bet on the Buccaneers. I'm going to give them another week or two. I just need to see it.
Just for perspective, the Saints are plus 110. The Falcons are plus 175. Bucks are 600, and they're in first place. They're about to be 2-0.
I think
the Saints to win the division, but sorry, Casey.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say I think getting the Bucks now would be perfect, and then I think you can get the Saints at a better rate down here in a few weeks.
I agree. Value wise, that is great value. I don't know. I'm still I still have a soft spot for Derek Carr. But I gotta see. They didn't look great week 1.
Well, and they were playing the Titans, who are not great. So
no.
And eventually, I will stop making Bucks bets, but Vegas just hasn't caught up to them yet.
Yeah.
Next week when they play the Eagles, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of things to say about putting money on the Bucks, but Vegas is going to catch up to them. It's, if nothing else, a close race between those teams. I'm all in for the value, and I'm all in for these favorable odds early on.
Yeah. And you're 5-1, so I mean, we can't really
there you go.
Sit here and complain about your picks right now.
No.
These damn Cyclones, they ruined it for me. My perfect season gone.
All right. So I think anyone else have any picks they want to add, or we can close out the show here? I think we're good to go. Well, good luck, everyone here. Good luck to anyone that's going to be watching. Again, if you want to follow our TD parlay, I will tweet that out along with the link to our show today. Once again, it's DeAndre Swift, Travis Kelce, DK Metcalf, and Deebo Samuel. Watch the show over again if you want to hear our locks and underdogs for both college and NFL. We appreciate everyone for watching. Let us know if you have any picks you want us to look at, or if you follow us, send us screenshots of your bet slips, and we'll celebrate with you and hopefully have some winners this week. We appreciate everyone tuning in tonight, and see you guys next Wednesday.